And we're on the air. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Sorry I'm late. How's it going? Welcome to Traveling with Bruce. It's Friday. Yay! May the 4th. It's 2018. Yes, fantastic. I'm just setting up here, frantically getting myself ready. I've just been working away here on this story about the Carnival Dream cruise ship that left New Orleans for its weekly run into the Caribbean, Western Caribbean cruise. They had a flood on board the ship, deck 9, I guess. Story goes that a pipe carrying fresh water for fire suppression burst. I don't know if there were multiple breaches of this pipe or what the story was, but water was pouring into the hallway. By the time they got the water shut down, to stop the flooding, to stop the water from coming out, I guess there were several inches of water running down in the hallway. 50 rooms, 50 rooms were affected by the flooding. Passengers were, of course, inconvenienced. I guess this happened last night. The cruise line immediately stepped up and brought, of course, they had crew on board, immediately up to deck 9 to try and deal with it. And there's video. I just posted the video. Some of you have probably already seen it. I just posted a quick 3-minute video. It has a little clip in there of what was going on last night. But to describe it in a nutshell, I think they brought up probably 50 to 100 crew people immediately with big buckets, these huge tubs, and they were filling them up and immediately getting the water out of there. Apparently, we don't see this as a normal thing when we go on a cruise. But if you walk the hallway of a cruise ship, if you look close enough on the floor, certain spots on the floors discreetly located are drains for any flooding, and water was being squeegeed out and being just literally carried out and dumped down I guess sinks and whatnot. Again, crew area that the room staff, your stewards, room stewards use those rooms. They would take the buckets there and then dump the water out, and out it would go. And thankfully, it was fresh water. It wasn't black water. It wasn't that water. Water number 1 or water number 2 with chunks in it. It wasn't that water. It was fire suppression water. And so we didn't have to worry about that issue on the cruise ship. But apparently deck 8, deck 7, unaffected from what I've heard so far. These are watertight levels, which is nice to know. And Carnival did something that I was pretty impressed with. They have already announced a compensation package to all affected passengers, 100% refund on the cruise that you're on, 50% credit on a future cruise with Carnival. And the ship was already headed to Cozumel. Whether it was headed there anyway or that was the nearest port, it went right into port. And the story goes, we will fly you home from here if you don't want to stay on the ship for the next 2 days at our expense. Free airfare home from here with a refund and a 50% credit on a future cruise. That's what Carnival did with a freshwater disaster on deck 9 for 50 cabins. So I'm assuming 100, 125 people, depending on how many children or how many cabins had 2 or 3 or 4 people in a cabin. That's pretty cool. That's pretty dramatic, pretty effective, and pretty immediate. Back to our friends over here at, well, not here, maybe right over here. Our friends over here at Norwegian, they didn't do that on the reconstruction toxic chemical cruise from hell. There were 4 of them. They didn't offer anything like that to any of their passengers. They just let them rot out there on the decks while they were sanding and working with these toxic chemicals and fumes and everything else. People getting sick, people having issues in their rooms with the toxic dust and everything else. I've talked about it enough. You all know. The best offer they've made is a 100% credit for a future cruise, good for 4 or 5 years. That's it. That's all they're offering. And that's pretty pathetic. And I'm still very disappointed in Norwegian for how they've treated their passengers on clearly a major faux pas that was their doing. They screwed it up. It wasn't a burst pipe. It wasn't like, we had a mechanical issue here. No. This was premeditated. at head office through their reconstruction department, dry dock department, and they went right after it. And they wanted to save a couple of bucks on the dry dock in Victoria, on the Norwegian Sun, and they just went after their passengers, and their passengers are still paying the price health-wise. A bunch of them are still seeing doctors with terrible coughs, all kinds of irritation, all kinds of nonsense. Anyway, Carnival, thumbs up to you guys for stepping up to the plate right off the get-go. The compensation offer was on the table before I could even get a video up about what happened. That's pretty good. I'm impressed with that, and isn't that the way it should be? I mean, really, isn't that the way it should be? Carnival is earning kudos, I'm sure, from the passengers' families back home. I'm sure a lot of loved ones are nervous. Is this affecting my son, my daughter, my friends, my neighbors, my coworker? What's going on? And they're just all over this and taking care of it. And I commend them for that. So there you go. Jim Thomas sending me $5 on Super Chat right in the middle of my rant and my rave. How about that? Thank you, Jim. As always, I thank you every time you give me a Super Chat or donation. Anyone does, I thank you. Let's say hi to everybody who's here. It is, after all, Friday. Let's see who's here and say hello to everybody. If you're new to my channel, I love talking about cruise ships, obviously, as you just figured out. I love talking about new ships coming on the market, great cruises that you can get, deals, the good, the bad, the whatever, the crazy, the wacky, the insane, the stupid, the funny. We love covering it all. If you're new to cruising, you've come to the right channel. If you're never been here before and you are a cruiser, you've come to the right channel, because these folks who are signing in right now, we love talking about cruise ships and cruise ship deals and everything else, and we welcome you to the show. By the way, on that Dream, Carnival Dream, it was built in 2009, refurbished in 2017. 3,646 passengers, 1,369 crew. So we're talking about close to 5,000 people on a cruise ship. Big. And like I say, they stepped up pretty well. So I'm very impressed with that. Subs, 1,868 or something like that is where we're at right now. Thank you, all you subscribers who've joined in, and all of you who are following me on a day-to-day basis. Let's see who's here. Jim Thomas signed in first, saying, good afternoon, everyone. Had fun with our game last night and wanted to say thank you, Bruce, for another great show. Thank you, Jim. We had fun on trivia last night. Peter Heckema, another 87-degree day here in Tarpon Springs, Florida, headed for the beach for a walk, then to our favorite beach restaurant for dinner. We will be listening to you in the car as we walk along the beach. I mean, it's tough times in Tarpon Springs, Florida, but you got to endure it. You know, you got to tough it out. And Peter, you're doing it. You're my man. That's awesome stuff, man. Richard C., thanks, Jim. Wendy Thompson, hello, everyone. Rain today. Sorry to hear that, Wendy. It's just not right. Tommy Eaton, hi, Bruce and all. Looking forward to another great show today. So glad Carnival stepped up in regards to the Carnival Dream flood on Deck 9. Paul Wilgus just sent me $10 on PayPal. I just saw that come through. Paul, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's fantastic. Getting me through the weekend here. That's wonderful. Thank you, Tommy, for your comment. Carnival, they so glad they stepped up in regards to the Dream. I wish Norwegian could do the same. Wendy Thompson got my shareholder form 10K, an annual meeting and proxy statement today. Very informative. I'm assuming that's Royal Caribbean. I'm not 100% sure, Wendy. Got my mugs today, well packaged and ready for travel. Oh, good. You got the Traveling with Bruce mugs. Fantastic. That's great, Wendy. Tracy Dunlop, hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Sunny and 88 degrees. Nice, Tracy. Meant to say in Naples, Florida. Valerie F. is here. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Valerie. How you doing? How's it going? Welcome to Friday. Paul Wilgus, hey, Bruce and all. 82 here in Virginia. Anyone for a swim in the hallway? Laughing out loud. Anybody want to go fishing in the hallway? Richard C., there is a detailed report on YouTube on the Dream flood. If people are interested, well, I did a video. You can always see mine. Wes Morrison, hi from New Braunfels, Texas. Wes, how are you, pal? 65 and raining. 6 months until my cruise on the Viking Longship Bar. Fantastic, Wes, and thank you for your contribution. I think you sent me one yesterday on PayPal, and I saw it. I gave you a shout out yesterday. I don't think you were here, but you're here today, and thank you very much. I really appreciate your support. That is fabulous. Valerie F. Carnival is a sad cruise line. I would never sail that cruise line. I know all lines have their issues, but they seem to always be the line that has crazy issues. Well, you know, sometimes things go in streaks, I suppose. I know that the Carnival was having a real tough time, 3 months ago with these safety inspections, you know, the surprise inspections on shore. And Carnival was running into problems, failing these inspections. But lately, those have ceased to happen. They haven't had any fails. But this issue here, yeah, this has happened. But I like the way they dealt with it. I like the way that they went right at it, and I'm pretty impressed with the turnaround, the quick turnaround on compensation. There was, someone in the PR department and someone in the accounting department, somewhere in head office, just made the decision. This is the deal. We're going to refund them their dough, half off on other crews. Fly them home if they want to fly home. No questions asked. That is the least that cruise line should be doing. Carnival just instantly did it. This thing with Norwegian just kills me. They just dragged their heels for days, if not weeks. And people on the cruise before the Panama cruise, they're only being offered half a credit, and the cruisers before that are offered nothing. They're being offered ditka, and that is just ridiculous. Iskew Park. Hi, Bruce. It's Iskew in Thunder Bay, Ontario. It's 21 Celsius here. Sunny and warm for a change. Man, that's getting up to 75, 70. Yeah, that's 70 degrees. That's nice. Way to go, pal. Same here, about 72. We're loving it in Canada. Seakeeper, hi, Bruce, and all. 86 Fahrenheit and sunny in Tequila, Florida. Happy Star Wars Day to all, and may the force be with you. At least the flood was clean water. Exactly. Today is May 4, so it's May 4 be with you. May the force be with you. May 4. It's Star Wars Day. If you're into that kind of thing. Keith Mahoney, do you think Norwegian, do you think NCL, what is stepped up that fast, would have stepped, that's a good question. Keith, that's a good question. Would Norwegian have stepped up that fast had they had a freshwater issue like this on one of their ships? I'd like to say yeah, but I can't, because the way that they've left these folks hanging on the Norwegian Sun, 8,000 passengers on 4 cruises at least, as far as I can figure, and the 1,000 crew. I really don't know. Iskew, this bad water leak affecting 50, 60 rooms is why beach resorts are not bad when something happens similar to this. It's a good point, Iskew, but keep in mind that on the 9th floor, they have 2 hallways, right? They have the one on the one side and the hallway on the other. And on the entire level of that, the whole deck, there would probably be as many as 250 suites, maybe 300. So to have 50 affected on one floor with a leak of that nature, that is a minor issue. I mean, that's really minor. It's not minor if you're in one of those cabins. Believe me, I hear you there. But this is what happens. But a cruise ship is a cruise ship. It's an all-encompassing, vessel that does it all in one long tube, floating at sea. Whereas a resort, you can spread it out. But resorts have their issues too. Obviously, God forbid you're buying a 1-week all-inclusive retreat in Cancun, and you're on the 3rd floor of the unit, and it's all great. And on the second day, right 4 units down, they're retarring the roof for the week, and you're stuck because the wind is going your direction. I mean, you can get issues on land as well. But here, in this case, it sounds like they dealt with it pretty quickly. Apparently, the hallways are pretty well dried out. They'll be back in New Orleans day after tomorrow on the 6th of May, and they'll turn around and leave right that afternoon. And they're scheduled on time. They're not holding up the cruise ship at all. By the time the folks get off the ship and the new group get on, it's all good. I wouldn't be surprised if most of those 50 rooms are back up and in operation already. They'll just be drying them out. We'll have to see. We'll hear more. We'll hear more stories in the next few days, I'm sure. Excuse me. Iskew saying if you get washed out of your room in a beach resort, they send you to a sister resort or other resorts till your room gets cleaned up. Yep. They'll do what they can. Of course, if it's Easter break or spring break and everyone's booked, then we got that problem. You might be going many, many miles away to get any kind of help, if you get any at all, depending on who you're booking with. What tour, what resort, it's a crapshoot, isn't it? Just like cruising sometimes, isn't it? Desi Wagner's here. Hi, Bruce and everyone. Sunny at 75 Fahrenheit here in Chicago. I missed trivia last night. Darn it. Well, you can always watch the rerun. You can play along on the rerun, not as fun, but you can try it. Keith Mahoney, a lot of people won't be impressed with Carnival Cruise Line. Well, it's both. Some will be disappointed. Others might be impressed. if they are as speedy as they seem to be already on this issue, I think this will be quickly forgotten. It's not going to be known as a major disaster because of the rest of the ship was unaffected. Power was never a problem. The restaurants were never an issue. Entertainment, everything's fine. Everything else is running fine. The flood was contained. It was dealt with. It was cleaned up. So it's on the scale of 1 to 10. This is a 1. But if you're in the room, it's a 9. If your room is wet, it's a 9. I totally get it. But yeah, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. Debbie Manuel. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Debbie. How you doing? Welcome to Friday. And everyone. This is Bruce. Hi, everyone. Sunny and mid-80s today in Chico. I saw the video today on Carnival Cruise with all of that water. Scary video. Was so glad Carnival has so taken care of their guests. Yep, that's my thought exactly, Debbie. I'm right on with you on that. Keith Mahoney. Will be impressed. A lot of people won't be impressed, or they will be impressed. Oh, Keith. Okay, I got you, Keith. That's cool. Isku Park Carnival and Disney both earn respect for the way they handle events. Norwegian messed up and will pay for their handling of that cruise. I agree. They don't. They just are. They're just thinking of alternate facts. They're not dealing with reality. I just don't get it with Norwegian. I don't get it. Tammy Ray. Hi, everybody. Hi, Tammy. Jim Thomas. Hi, Tammy. Randy and hey, Deb. Scott Batchley. Hi, everybody. Another beautiful day in Ventura. 70 degrees. Yes. Wendy Thompson. Yes, Royal Caribbean International. It always makes good reading, Wendy, when you get these documents, if you're into that kind of thing. I'm into that kind of thing. Caleb Turner, hi from Louisiana. How you doing, Caleb? Welcome to the show. If it's your first time here, I'm glad you're here. If you've been here before and I've forgotten, I apologize. I'm old. Welcome. Nina Frank, hi, Bruce and all. Way to go, Carnival. Found a good deal on Holland America, Noy Amsterdam for $638 single rate, and what I understand, they have good sized rooms as well. Tempting for a 5-star ship. Yeah, 5-star for sure. Main dining room, fabulous. Don't even worry about specialty restaurants. Just go to the main dining room. It's awesome. That's a good price for a single for sure. Tammy Ray, that's why I like Carnival. They may not be the fanciest, but I've never had an issue with them. Again, for Tammy, there's folks out there who hate them, folks out there who love them. Others have no opinion. But in this case, they did the right thing and quickly. Thumbs ups from me. Jim Thomas, that was just for Deck 9 or everyone on board. Just Deck 9, Jim. Only Deck 9 was given the refund offer. As far as I know, Jim, I should correct myself. I believe the offer for a full refund and a fly you home right away was for those affected by the flooding on Deck 9, because apparently other decks there was no effect whatsoever. But it's early. We may hear stories coming out today, tomorrow about any other issues for anyone else, and I'm sure Carnival will deal with it on a case-by-case basis. But the initial, the initial offer, the initial, PR move that Carnival made was for those affected directly by this disaster on Deck 9 that were affected on Deck 9. So that's what I know so far, Tom. Jim, we may hear more. Betsy Lane, hello, plus 23 Celsius in Hamilton, Ontario. What a change. Betsy, you used to send me text where you said -4 and -6. +2, plus 23. Goodbye, snow. That is great. Hello, spring. Hello, summer. Welcome back to the real world, Betsy. This is great news. And it's Friday. Khalid Turner, 86 degrees in Louisiana. Too hot. It probably is, with some humidity thrown in for good measure, I'm sure. Loves to Travel is here today saying hi, 80 today. All should be okay today. No tornadoes in Kansas. Okay, welcome back, Loves to Travel. It's great to have you. Wendy Thompson, out of 5 people, Richard D, Fame, Jason T, Liberty Mike, Lisa got the least in bonuses. Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, different people in the cruise line, and the female got the lowest. Isn't that wrong? Yeah. Loves to Travel. Tammy, I like Carnival too. I never had any problems yet. Again, they're okay line. They've been around for a long time. There's a reason they're still in business. They've done something right. Yeah. value for your money, I would say. Auntie Jane 11 is here. Hi, Bruce and everyone. 18 is the Celsius is a high, and 13 the low today in Tams, New Zealand. Good morning. Good morning to you. That's okay weather. 18 and 13. That's spring. Although you're going into fall now, aren't you? You're heading for winter. So hang in there, Auntie Jane. It's time for a cruise. A warm one. Tracy Dunlap, Carnival did a great thing. Very impressed. Keith Mahoney, the English language is crazy. Tarpon Springs is pronounced Tarpin. I will use Tarpin from now on if I remember. Thank you, Nina Frank. Being a beautiful sunny day in Sweden today, 20 Celsius, but now it's 20 after 11. In the evening, it's getting a little chilly. Yeah, in the evenings, it just whoop, it goes down, and it goes down fast, doesn't it? Yeah. well, you know, early spring. Sweden is not yet out of the chill, and here in the evening we get down to about 10 degrees Celsius. It's about 50 Fahrenheit. Although we can go down to zero, like we can go down to 30, 35 degrees still here. But lately, we've been getting these 65, 70 degree high temperature days. And about 50, 55 for the lows. Not too shabby, so that's pretty good. Before I forget, I wanted to mention to all of you today, next week, I am traveling back to Calgary, catching up with my daughter again. I've got a few things to take care of there. I'm going to be off the air for 3 days next week. I will not be on the air Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of next week. So no trivia Tuesday or Thursday next week. I'll see if I can squeeze some in Monday and Friday. We'll see what we can do. And then I'll be back on the air Friday. So I'm on the air Monday, tomorrow and Monday, then on Friday, and then Saturday and so on thereafter. So I just want to give you folks a heads up. I'm going to be out of town for a few days with Jen and I as we head to Cowtown. And that's kind of the latest there. What else is going on? My channel. Little tidbit for you. Some of you, I don't know, some of you may not care about this, but some of you do. I do have this one video. I keep talking about this one video that has been my #1 video, the most watched video of all my videos. Top 10 tips for new cruisers, like first-time cruisers. It just passed 86,000 views, which, you know, in the world of Casey Neistat is nothing, but for me, that's like a third of all my views. 1 in 3 of all my video views is that one video out of 220 shows. It was at one time doing 1,000 views a day. Then about 2 some odd weeks ago, it dropped and stopped dead in its tracks. It was doing 100 views a day. Yesterday, day before yesterday, it was back up to 700 views a day. It's coming back. Right now, it's back to 100 views a day. It's just dropped again. Just like someone turned a switch off and said, "No, that video is not getting any promotion. Shut that thing up." Couldn't believe it. I just can't believe it. I can't make heads or tails of it. I can only assume that what's happening is changing of the seasons. We're going from winter to spring to summer. And a lot of folks who were thinking of a 2018 cruise for the first time have probably made their decision for 2018. And it might be a month or two before people start scheming this summer about going on a cruise next January, February, March for their first ever cruise. And they'll look for videos to, find information on how to become, how to be a smart cruiser. I have no idea. I just can't. It blows my mind how the video can go from 1,000 views on a Tuesday, and on a Wednesday it can do only 100 views. Just after 3 months of 1,000 views every day, 7 days a week. It's the most incredible thing. So my channel is just doing this on its views, on its view count, just like this. I'm seeing a lot of news coming out of YouTube these days about adjustments, changes, new events, new things, all kinds of events. I did read something interesting this morning. It talked about how quite a high number of people are watching YouTube on their television sets. I'm pointing at my TV. You can't see it. Rather than watching on a computer or on a handheld device or a tablet, they're watching YouTube on their televisions. And this is the cutting of the cable that we keep hearing about and talking about. Those of us in this age group that I'm in, we grew up with cable television. I mean, I started off with antenna television, then cable, and now it's going obviously the other direction, even further to wireless. There are a lot of folks out there who are cutting the cable and are only going to watch. They're going to use their television as a monitor. That's all it is now. It's a monitor to watch the internet. And a lot of these folks are watching their majority of their YouTube time that they have is on their own television sets at home. And I know that some of you are watching me on your televisions, on your television sets. I've heard that. I've had you mention it. So I found that an interesting thing as this shift is continuing on, because I remember in 93, 95, 99, if you wanted to be on the internet, you had to be on a computer. You had to be on a desktop. And then, of course, the big deal was to get a big screen on your desktop to see the big picture. And then, of course, it was all about line resolution and all this stuff and the dots and stuff. And then the flat screens came out. We all had to switch to a flat screen desktop computer. And then, of course, the laptops came out. They became affordable with the bigger screens. And now it's all the way back to the television. It's back to this unit as a monitor because, as we remember as children, if we're old enough, TVs used to be part of the furniture of the house. A big wooden cabinet with the speakers on the side and maybe the record player up in the one corner on the top. All-inclusive record player, radio, television in one. You remember those days? I was thinking the other day about brand names, television brand names. Do you remember the old television brand names we used to buy when we were, well, I guess maybe our parents used to buy these in the 50s and the 60s. I was thinking about Magnavox and Zenith and, of course, RCA. And just trying to remember the name of the brand. You remember the television that was built in America? The last television that was built in the United States? I think it was Mathis, if I recall. And the president of the company was on the air advertising his own televisions, the only televisions made in the United States, Mathis, because the rest were all now being made in Asia, starting in Japan and then South Korea and other Taiwan and other countries. Things have changed big time. It's amazing. Brands nowadays, I go into a Costco store and look at the brand names on these televisions. I don't recognize some of these names. They're foreign to me, but then I'm old. What can I say? Who's saying hi? What's going on here? Making sure I'm up to speed here. Let's see here. Frank and Nina. Then oh no, bummer. Nina, July and August is the best time. Mild evening in the evenings. Nina saying in Sweden. Paul Wilgus. I watch YouTube on television late at night if I can't sleep. There you go. Keith Mahoney. I am watching you on my TV. To buy Comcast, $35 at Walmart. See, there you go. Wow. Tommy Heaton, I'm watching you on my TV. Only drawback is I use my phone to text. Oh, yeah, because you're talking. Yeah, I got you. Debbie Manuel, I also have been watching you YouTube on my television. Harder to follow along and type on live chats, but hard to type a response with the remote control. Yeah, it's impossible. But you are huge when you dance on that device. How about this? Oh, that's got to be scary, folks. Oh, you folks with those big TVs. That's got to be the scariest sight. Paul Williams, my television has the YouTube app built in. Mamie Heath is here. Please show some video of handicap rooms and what's on board for them. Oh, handicap. Please show video of handicap rooms and what's on board for them. Now, I got your message now. Mamie, you're using capital letters all the time. I don't care, but some people hate it. I just mentioned it. But you know what? I'll do a video about handicap rooms. I'll do a video about those kinds of rooms, and I'll make one just for those. That's a good suggestion. Paul Wilgus, Curtis Mathis. Curtis Mathis. Yeah, that's right. What didn't they say the most expensive TV and darn well worth it? Wasn't that the logo? Something like that, the pitch. Wes Morrison, I am also watching you on my TV as well. I use Chromecast, right on. Nina Frank, can't find that darn HDMI cord, but I like to have the TV on at the same time. Auntie Jane 11, Mamie, stop shouting LOL, take your caps off. Mamie might need the capitals to see her own writing because, maybe she needs glasses, like we all do. I'm easygoing on it, but what am I going to say? Randy Lucas, greetings. All were down the hill today in Oroville, sunny and a high 78. Welcome, Randy, to the show. Paul Willigas, yep, that was their logo. That was their saying, their slogan. Weren't there also Philco televisions? And I know Admiral in 1964 or 5. My father had a childhood friend of his from the old country, Lithuania. They met up in Canada in 1964, and this gentleman name is Harry. We always refer to him as Uncle Harry. And Uncle Harry was a lifelong bachelor and never got married, never got hitched up. And Uncle Harry, being a bachelor, only had to spend money on himself. And this guy had about a 20-inch Admiral television, black and white in those days. It was a portable type with the handle on the top, but it was a 20-inch, it was big, with a remote control. Ooh, man, a remote control on his television. That's the first time I ever saw a remote control. The first TV that ever entered our house. He lived with us for a few years, and he brought his TV with him, and we were watching his television for a few years with remote control. Oh, my, my, my. But in it would have been 71 or 72, must have been a good year because Mom and Dad sprung for a color television, 26-inch console color TV. I think the brand name was Electra Home. Anybody remember that? That's a Canadian brand, but no remote control. You had to get up and change the channel the manual way. But color television, oh my gosh, that was something to see sporting events in color. Green grass at Yankee Stadium. Oh, wow. Instead of all that gray color, that changed everything. That was amazing. Magnavox, Randy Lucas is going with. Yeah, right. Magnavox, Admiral. What other brands were there? Do you remember, guys? Way back when, Paul Willis, I remember all those, unfortunately. Yeah, I'll tell you another Christmas I won't forget. My parents, they handed my sister and I together an envelope. And they said, you got whoever wants to open the envelope, it doesn't matter who opens the envelope. There's a letter in there. So we open up this envelope, and there's there's not even a letter. It's an invoice. It's a receipt from Sears Canada for a dishwasher. Mom and Dad went to Sears and bought a dishwasher, and it couldn't get delivered in time for Christmas Eve. It was coming the first week of January. And that was a big deal to my sister and I because we were on rotation. 1 week I had to wash the dishes. The next week she had to wash the dishes. We were getting a dishwasher. Oh my goodness. 1971, maybe something like that. 70 maybe. A dishwasher. Oh, we only had to wash the pots and pans by hand now. Of course, Mom was home cooking at that time, and she could make any German dish you could imagine. And those pots and pans were tough to clean up. But now we didn't do we only had to load the dishwasher now and then unload the dishwasher. But what a convenience. I remember that Christmas. All the little things. Scott Batchley, I was the remote for years. Yeah, get up and change the channel. Well, yeah, what's on channel 4? Can you imagine if we had 65 channels and it had to be done by getting up all the time? I think America would be 20 pounds lighter per person across the board. We'd all be thinner. I don't think we'd be watching as much TV either. Just sitting there, clicking away. Oh, wow, what a deal. All right, other news I wanted to talk to you guys today about the cruise business. I had started this off earlier today. I thought this was going to be my story of the day. Then the Carnival Dream incident took place with a little flooding there. I was going to talk to you about the big 3 cruise lines. They came out with their first quarter financial results, and I love reading this stuff. And what I find interesting is forget about all the millions they make and the billions that they generate and all that stuff. It's boring. The number that gets me, that I kind of love to look for, is how much money do they make from every passenger every day? The daily profit per passenger number. I find that fascinating because you get on one of these big old cruise ships that are 1,100 feet long, 18 stories high, cost $1 billion to make, and you look at the number, and for Carnival, to give you an idea, the per day profit is $18.25. And for Royal Caribbean, the daily profit is $22.72. And for Norwegian, the first quarter profit for 2018, $21.83 per day per passenger average. Now, obviously, if you're staying in the Haven on Norwegian, they're making more. And if you're staying, if you're losing $500 a night in the casino, they're making more. If you go to the specialty restaurants or you buy a drink package, they're making more. But there are folks, you got to count the children, you got to count grandma and grandpa, you got to count everybody. And there are some folks who go on a cruise ship and they don't really spend any money on board. They pride themselves on getting their bill at the end of the cruise, and it's at zeros, or it's like under $50 because they prepaid their tips, or they don't do specialty restaurants, they don't do drink packages, they don't drink alcohol, they bring pop on board. So $18.25 a day net profit per passenger on average with Carnival Cruise Lines, and that includes all the lines that they operate: Holland America, Princess Lines, P&O, Costa, Cunard. Some of these lines are a lot more money than others, especially the 6-star, like the Seabourns out there, and the what is it, Region 7 Seas for Norwegian. I mean, you're $400 or $500 a night, big money. They're taking those numbers into play as well to come out with these net numbers. Quite astonishing. I was quite amazed at that. Carnival last year in the first quarter was making $17.56. Now it's $18.25. So they're 75 cents or so more per day per passenger. But you multiply it by the millions, that's a lot of money. They earned $391 million in the first 3 months of the year. 131 or 130 million a month net profit after all expenses, including the salary to the chairman of the board, Fane and Del Rey and all these guys making big money. Or Royal Caribbean, 219 million in net profit. Norwegian cleared 103 million. It's impressive on Norwegian's part because they only made 62 million a year ago. This quarter, this time around, 103 million, 41 million more, 66% increase in their net profit. It'll be interesting to see what happens going forward with people canceling cruises because of the Norwegian Sun incident, but we'll find out. Quite an amazing stat. The other stat that I find interesting is how much money people spend every day on board a cruise ship. So here's Carnival. They're clearing $18.25 a passenger, but the passenger is spending $197.54 a day on average. So that is less than a 10% profit margin on the gross amount of money collected. Of that 197 that came in, 147 or so was tickets, $50.60 onboard spending. And over on Royal Caribbean, $210 a day coming in, 148 from tickets, 62 from onboard spending, more than Carnival. And Norwegian is the king of them all, which I find shocking. Norwegian, $273 a day, 189 from ticket revenue, and 85 onboard spending per day. $85. That is $35 a day more than Carnival gets on a per day basis. So I find those really interesting numbers, how this is breaking out. But even so, having $273 come in the front door for Carnival, they walk out the door with only $21 in profits. And that shows me that their profit margin is about 7%, 7.5% less than Carnival's. Interesting. So Carnival makes more money on a percentage basis. Royal Caribbean, $210 gross, clearing 22. They actually clear over 10% on their investment. And they're the guys building the $1.3 billion cruise ships, Symphony of the Seas, and the $800 million Celebrity Edge that's being built. They're dropping big money, but this allows them to charge bigger money. And the bigger the ship, the more efficient it is on a per person basis. And here it is. It comes out in the numbers. Carnival has a lot of smaller ships from the old days. So they have ships from the 90s that hold 2,000, 2,200 people, whereas Carnival, Royal Caribbean right now is creating 6,000 to 7,000 passenger cruise ships with paying passengers that high. That is, those are stunning numbers. Anyway, I found that quite interesting. Wes Morrison is saying Sears Silvertone. Yeah, the Silvertone television. I remember in Canada, we had a department store chain called Eaton's Family Business. They were across Canada. They went under in the 90s. They were one of the first companies to crash when they sort of predated .com, but they had a recession that knocked them out. But there used to be Eaton television sets. Kenmore televisions, weren't there Kenmore TVs from Sears as well? I think so. Randy Lucas, we had channels 8, 11, and 46. That's right. Wendy Thompson, we moved into town from the lake near Christmas. That Dad gave me a snow shovel. Yeah, just what I wanted, a snow shovel. That's the year Dad gave me a snow shovel. Oh, you'll never forget those. Seakeeper, I've been known to sneak alcohol on board in rum runner bottles. Works every time. There you go, buddy. Cam Wilson, hey everybody. Hey Cam, how are you? Has Bruce already talked about the Carnival Dream? Yes, he did talk about the Carnival Dream, and he posted a video about the Carnival Dream today, and the offer, the compensation offer, which I found pretty reasonable and quick. Paul Wilgus, hey Cam, yes he did. A Seakeeper, Eaton had Viking brand. Oh yeah, Eaton's had the Viking brand. Thank you, Seakeeper. That's right. I'm just dating myself, you know. Unbelievable. You remember when we used to turn the TV on? We had to wait and wait and wait. And what I found was in the winter, when it was really cold outside and the house is about 65 inside, it took longer for the TV to turn on than when you turn the TV on in July in the house, because the house is now 90 degrees because we didn't have air conditioning in the 60s. And the TV would turn on a lot faster because those tubes didn't take as long to warm up. The old tubes. And I remember the first time I saw a television with solid state technology. That's from space, you know. That's Mercury, baby. Yeah, Gemini technology. Pull the knob out, turned on right away. Oh my God, a television that turns on right away. I couldn't believe it. Wow, that was awesome. Madison DeMarco, my aunt is on deck 9. Madison, talk to me about this. Was she affected on deck 9 by the events? If she was, let me know. If she wasn't, let me know. What is she telling you? What have you heard? I'm dying to hear this. Nina Frank, tipping policy is ridiculous. I want to tip whomever I like, barman, piano player, and that's make my day better. Anyone that makes my day better. Oh, okay. Nina, you can do that, of course. You could literally tell the cruise line on deck that I don't want to tip on the mandatory charge, on that daily charge. I'm just going to do it myself. You can do it yourself. You know, it's up to you. Paul Wilgus, the good thing about the tubes were they could be replaced easily. Oh, yeah, generally speaking, unless it was the big one. Don't let it be the big one, please. I remember we used to get those channel switches had to be replaced because my sister and I would just wing it from 9 to 3 and wear the darn thing out because it's mechanical. Unbelievable. Iskew Park, I remember our first black and white TV had a plastic colored screen that had a top tube, middle yellow and green bottom to make a colored television. Yeah, I remember that stuff. And Madison DeMarco, I haven't heard much about it from her, but she is going to tell me when she gets back. Madison, you got to tell us what you hear when she gets back. I'm dying to know. That would be great to get firsthand. Tell her to watch the show, and then she can tell us directly what's going on, whatever happened to them on that ship. I'd love to hear that. That would be cool. Nina Frank, sounds good. Yes, that would be really good. Nina, you can pay tips directly. You don't have to go through the system if you don't want to. But I just prepay my tips, knowing that everybody's in the pool. That's in the tip pool is getting money, and my conscience is clear. If I want to make a tip to my room steward as a separate thing, I do that. If I like extra service elsewhere, I'll do that. No problem at all. Steamy Bean, school is out. And a 5-year-old called me a big fatty. Then I told him I was going to sit on him. Stephen Bean, that little kid could have had the common decency to have said, hey, I think you're one biscuit short of being a fatty. But no, they went right past the biscuit remark and they went right after you. That's just not right. Boy, I'll tell you, sometimes these kids got to be taught a lesson. I'll tell you that right now. Anna EP is here. Aloha, coming in way late. Humid and 80 today in Honolulu. Anna EP, welcome back. It's been a while. It's nice to have you here. That's great. Paul Willigas, he's laughing his tail off on that one. Bean, Steamy Bean is laughing out loud. You know, those kids today, you'd think that they'd be taught proper manners, you know, about how to sort of broach the subject. Seakeeper, Dad used to buy replacement TV tubes at the drugstore. Yes, I remember going into like a corner store, and right in the front door, right by the front door, where today you would have the lottery checking machine where you can check your losing tickets. They used to have those tube testing machines. You remember those? And they would be brought in from, I don't know, Czechoslovakia or something like that. And you would bring your tube with you, and you'd have all these spots, these black, round, or brown kind of plugs on the top of this unit. Must have been 30 of them. And you had to figure out which tube you had would fit into which of those plugs, and you'd put it in there and you'd stand there and watch and see what the needle would say, whether you had a good tube or not. That's how you knew which tube you had to replace on your television, because you took them all out. Of course, if you looked into your television and it's on and you see 7 glowing tubes and 1 black one, you kind of know, right? So you turn the TV off, unplug it, get your tube out. I would never want to put my hand in there, not over a million years that I want to do that. Take that tube, that defunct tube, over to the corner store or to the drugstore and put it in the machine just to check, you know, and sure enough, it's a dead tube. You get a new one, you put it in the machine to make sure it's working, and then you take it home and plug it into your television. Yeah. Otherwise, if that didn't do it, you called the TV repairman, or you took your TV to the repair center if you had to. Those were the days. Oh, those were the days. Seakeeper Chevy and First is here. Hey, y'all, I have a vacations to go question. If you purchase a cruise on there, do you have to pay for it all at once, or do they take a deposit? They'll take a deposit. They'll give you the dates when you pay the balance, and you can do it through them. If I recall, I'm not sure if you can from then on go through the cruise line. I don't think so. I think you go through Vacations to Go, and you can just dial the 800 number, or when they send you the confirmation email, I think they gave you a link there, and you can just do it online down the road whenever you want it. That's how they do it. So yeah, they'll take a deposit. They'll tell you how much you need to deposit, how much is required, and when the payments are, you know, required. And they'll also go over with you cancellation rules. So if you need to cancel a cruise for whatever reason, they'll tell you how many days in advance you have to cancel to not incur a penalty. So they'll have all that info for you. They're great. Madison DeMarco, I feel like I'm the only kid here. Madison, you might be, but we're all kids at heart. But I've got a couple of younger guys who come around from time to time. And if you have any questions about cruising, you just let us know. We're here to help you. And we welcome you here. You know, Madison, you know what else you could do? You could tell all your friends that are your age to watch the show, and then you won't be the only one. As if they care. Just say it, you know. I'm just trying to get viewers, Madison. It's just me. Paul Wilgus, I remember those machines. Oh, those tube machines. Madison, you were too young to know about the tube testing machines. You got to ask your parents or maybe grandparents or someone that's aged like a grandparent. You tell them, what do you ever remember when you were a kid about a tube testing machine for the television tubes? And they'll tell you stories. If they know anything about it, they'll tell you stories. Madison, you have no idea what the world was like before you were born. It's unbelievable what it was like. It's almost boring now. Oh no, it's not boring now. It's very, very entertaining now too. Steaming Bean, teaching certainly helps me, keeps me young. There you go, Steamer. Scott Batchley, I remember the X-ray machines at the shoe stores as well. X-ray. Yeah, those things were everywhere. The Steaming Bean. If I have the money, I will charge my steward a 10 or a 20. I will tip. Oh, if I have the money, I'll tip my steward a 10 or a 20. Yeah, definitely, they're worth it. You know, you can do it. You can do it. Steaming Bean, but prepaid gratuities. I do the same thing, Steamer. Nina Frank, we had 2 channels in Sweden until '89. DDR mentality, East German mentality, right? Yeah, just two stations, both run by the state. Yeah, and you get nothing but good news all the time and facts. Yeah, I'm also laughing out loud, Madison. Madison, you got fans. You got fans, Madison. We love you. Chevy first, great. I found a better deal, more on board credit for a Royal Caribbean cruise next April, but I can't find the cruise on the RC site. Okay, well, there you go. Madison, my grandpa turns 82 in 3 days. You talk to him, if he remembers, about those tube testing machines. He'll tell you all about the tube televisions, even radios. We used to have tube operated radios and record players in our house. I'm not kidding. It's true. And we had to replace the tubes every once in a while to keep those things going. And we had to go to the corner store like a 7-Eleven or, Joe's Corner Store over here. You buy a bottle of pop for a nickel. You get a popsicle for 2 cents. You could buy an O. Henry chocolate bar for a nickel. And you could buy tubes from the corner store because everybody had tubes for everything. And these stores made a lot of money selling tubes. It's unbelievable. It's all gone now. Doesn't exist anymore. Amazing. Jim Thomas sending me $10. Might be next month, but might as well be a good one. Thank you, Jim Thomas, for this donation on Super Chat. That's great. The Steaming Bean, growing up out TV broke, and we went a year without the TV, and we chatted a year without a television. Oh my! In our house, that could not happen. My mother was a fan of the Dean Martin show. That's it. Dean Martin. Was it Tuesday night or Thursday night? We had to have a TV. Oh, there was no getting around that. Fix it and fix it now. For me, I had to watch hockey, but I didn't run the house, so it was up to Dad. But if Mom wasn't happy, Dad wasn't happy. It was funny. It was really funny. Whenever Mom wasn't happy, Dad wasn't happy, and the more unhappy Mom got, the more cranky Dad got. And I couldn't figure it out in those early days. But later, right through that noggin, it made sense. Yeah, keep Mama happy, and Daddy was happy. How about that? Huh? Yeah, interesting. Yes. Oh, the old days. Madison DeMarco, Carnival or Royal Caribbean is the question. Madison, it's a question of what kind of cruise do you want? You want to be on a cruise ship that has a wave runner, a surf machine? You want a cruise ship that has a rock climbing wall? You want to go on a cruise ship that has giant water slides or a huge regular slide, 10 stories tall? A carousel on board a cruise ship? You got to go with Royal Caribbean. That's what you got to do. But if you're budget minded, you're working, say, 2 jobs, Madison, you're working your full-time job and your part-time job. I'm talking about the future, Madison. You might find that $500 is all you can afford on a cruise. And your girlfriend's got $500 you've scraped together, and you're going to go on a Carnival cruise for a week. There you go. You got your vacay for $1,000. We're Royal Caribbean. You might have to spend $1,500. And if you got kids, well, you can go Disney, spend big money, or you can go Royal Caribbean and not spend as big money. How about that? So there's a couple of comparisons for you. Steaming Bean, Bruce is getting wound up. He's getting all wound up. Tommy Eaton, I remember when we had NBC, ABC, CBS, and PBS only. I remember before that, in Canada, we had CBC, that's the Canadian Broadcasting Network from the government, CTV, the Canadian Television Network, which was a private entity out of Toronto with affiliates, CH Television, Channel 11 in Hamilton, Ontario. Hi, Betsy. How you doing? And then we could get with our antenna from Buffalo, New York, ABC, CBS, and NBC. We could get those stations. That was the 60s, the early 60s. And the pictures were from the antenna. They were so sometimes, depending on the day, the weather, and everything else. Those are the old days. Paul Wilgus, the big console TVs with the built-in record players. You remember those? They were long. They're like 9 feet across. And you had the one end, about first 4 feet was radio and record player. And they had the lid, you lift it up. Oh, beautiful cherry wood or maple or fake. fake wood. And you had the speakers on each side of the cabinet, right? Only adults were allowed to touch it. Yeah. And in the middle, where you open the doors, that's where the record albums used to go. You put the albums in there. And then over on the other side was the screen for the television. And you either had knobs on the front or you had the knobs on the top. You had to lift the lid and you had knobs up there to change the channel and adjust the sound. Ooh, fancy stuff, baby. Yeah, you bought the rest of your furniture in the house, in the living room, to match your television. Those were the days. Bruce is getting all wound up. Oh my goodness, Steamy Bean. The last time I was in BC, I think I saw Bruce at Wreck Beach and I fainted. Samantha Farmer is here. Samantha, how you been? Madison DEF RC. Definitely Royal Caribbean, she's saying. Definitely. Madison, you got to go Royal Caribbean. You're the guy. You're a Royal Caribbean kind of guy. That's what you sound like to me from what I can tell already. Iskew Park. Bruce is remembering what it was like when he had a head full of hair. I got to tell you, when I was 15, I didn't have a full. I had hair. Yeah, it was hair here, but it was just as stringy as it is now. I tried to wear it long, and it was pathetic. But you couldn't talk me out of having longer hair. Oh, you couldn't talk me out of that. But yeah, it was thin, and there was a lot of forehead back then. There was still forehead. Well, what can I say? Seakeeper Ed Sullivan in our house. Oh, wasn't that Sunday nights? Sunday nights, Ed Sullivan. Remember the first time I saw Ed Sullivan in color? Oh, Ed Sullivan in color. The guy had color. He had regular skin. He had makeup. He wore good suits. He had nice suits. Nice shirt and tie. The stage with the curtains and the colors. Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. Those decades watching Ed Sullivan in black and white. Well, years. And then finally, Ed Sullivan color, and then it went off the air. He's gone. He's out of there. No more Ed Sullivan. Oh my gosh. Tommy Eaton, is Wreck Beach a clothing optional beach? Laugh out loud. For Steaming Bean, it would be. I bet you. Cam Wilson, Team Canaveral. Oh my. Paul Willigas, Tommy, we had NBC, CBS, ABC, and one UHF channel. I remember those occasionally. Jim Thomas, God loved listening to Dean Martin sing. Oh yeah. Oh, my mom, when that show was on, silence in the house. No talking. You want to talk to your sister, your brother, get out of the living room, go to the bedrooms, talk there. Get out of the living room. Mom is watching the Dean Martin show. End of discussion. And Dad was the enforcer. He didn't have to do anything. He only had to do this. That was it. Unbelievable. Time to mow the grass. That was it. That's all he had to do. He didn't have to do this. Didn't have to do anything. The look. The look. You remember the look? This is another look. Remember this look? That look. Remember that? Ooh, those looks. Action. Things happened. Silence when Dean Martin was on the house. Madison DeMarco. I'm 14. Madison. You're young, you're old, you're young, you're right in there. Prime time, buddy. The next 14 years are going to be great. So you're 28. Oh, going to be great. Don't let it get you down. Don't worry about girls. Don't worry about boys. Just worry about yourself. Move forward. Enjoy every day. Be happy. Better days are coming. If you had lousy days, don't worry about it. It's all good. It's all good. Soon you're going to be 21 and you're going to rule the world. It's going to be great. Oh, I remember when I was 14. Oh my goodness. Stories? Oh my gosh. Tracy Dunlap. Growing up over in the Middle East, we only had one channel for about 3 hours a night. Censored TV, censored movies, censored magazines. That's right, because it's for the good of the people. It's for the good of the country that you don't know what the hell's going on. Because if you knew what was really going on, it wasn't good for the country. Not the guys running the country anyway. Oh, not those guys. Oh my, Tracy, isn't that something? Wendy Thompson, hee-haw, Red Skelton and Benny Hill on television. Oh, I love Red Skelton. I loved how he did his goodbyes at the end of his show. May God bless. He would say goodbye to you directly on the tube. I loved it. How about Carol Burnett? Wasn't that fantastic television during the height of that show, Carol Burnett show? Oh, I love that. And of course, Johnny Carson at the height of Johnny in the 70s. Oh, love Johnny Carson. That was absolutely fantastic. The Steaming Bean. When I was a little kid, I used to get frustrated and dumbfounded that I would be locked out of my parents' bedroom when they were inside. Yeah, like, what's going on in there? You know what it is. Madison, this is for you. Just in case you're not sure, they're counting money. That's all. That's all it is. They. You know how they collect change? You know, nickels, dimes, and quarters. They're just counting the money and they're rolling the change, and they don't want to be disturbed. So you just leave mom and dad alone, because after they came out of there, they were usually in a much happier frame of mind because they counted all the money. They knew how much money they had, and they knew what they could get you to spoil you for your birthday or for a Christmas or a summer holiday. That's what was going on in there. That's all it was. That's all you had to know. It's all good. Tommy Eaton, Lawrence Welk show in our house. Boy, was I bored. A one and a two and a, oh no. Oh, Tommy, I'm so sorry. Well, Lawrence Welk, oh gosh, you couldn't wait to grow up, could you? Get me out of here. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's unbelievable. Steaming Bean Hamilton, CHCH television did hilarious House of Frankenstein. Yeah. The CHCH TV, they had a little bit of everything. They had Canadian shows, they had American shows, because they were an independent television station. They weren't CTV, they weren't CBC, they were their own little thing. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Anina Frank had a martini bar in London where I played only Dean Martin, Sinatra, and Bennett. Wonderful clients. Wow. Yeah, I guess so. That would have been a nice place to hang out with that kind of music all the time. Love it. Fantastic. The Steaming Bean TV and stereo consoles were often real wood. They were a fortune. The first color television I ever saw in action was at a neighbor's house across the street, 1962. 1962. I was 7, and the couple that lived in the home were I think they were older, and they were maybe empty nesters in 62. They had a console Zenith color television, 26 inches. 1962. That would have been $1,000 in 1962. You could have bought a Volkswagen Beetle for $1,000 in 1962. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, so happens that the woman of the house one day saw my mom watering her lawn, and they got to talking, and she found out that I was 7 and my sister was 5.5. And she said, well, why don't you have the kids come over? Why don't you send your kids over today at 5 o'clock, because the Flintstones are on TV at 5 o'clock in color, and they can come over and watch the Flintstones on television. Well, let me tell you, oh my goodness. My mother accepted that. Sure. Oh yeah, that'd be great. Nonchalant. Oh, that'd be fine. Yeah, I'll have them come over. Well, we get home from school, 3:30 in the afternoon. Mom is saying, straight to the bathtub. You guys are taking a bath right now. You're getting cleaned up. What's going on? You're going over to the so-and-so house, and you're going to watch the Flintstones on a color television tonight. Oh my gosh. We had to get a bath. We had to be all, and then be inspected by mom to make sure we got behind the ears, And then we had to put on our Sunday clothes. I was wearing a white shirt and a tie with the black shoes and those, scratchy gray pants that you used to have to wear as a kid. Why were they always scratchy? I don't get it. My sister had on a dress, stockings, had her hair done. We go walking across the street and we knock on the door, and the woman opens up, and she's in her casual wear, whatever. And here are these 2 kids going to Sunday school, coming in to watch television. Well, come on in, she said. And we sat down on the living room floor in front of this gigantic screen that was as big as we were. And we watched the Flintstones in color. Oh my God, I couldn't believe they had purple on there, and blue, and red, and green, and gold, pink. Thank God I wasn't colorblind. I couldn't believe it. Blew my mind. I walked out of that house a zombie. I was stunned. Came back to my parents' house, back to our black and white television. The one and only time we were ever invited over there. I don't know if we made her mad or they moved away. I don't know. But wow, that's the first time I ever saw television, color television. Oh my gosh, that was incredible. Thank God it didn't make me watch Lawrence Welk. Thank God for that. Yes, Jim Thomas. Wow, I thought there was on two channels when I was little, ABC and PBS. He was saying, Madison, is water wet? You're older than that. Let's see here. I'm female, Madison saying. I'm a girl. Oh, thank gosh, you're a girl, Madison. It's all good. There are boys named Madison too. You know that. So you didn't identify yourself as a girl, but welcome to the channel. And you're going to be a fine young lady. And the next 14 years are going to be the best years of your life. I'm not taking that back. Steaming Bean, growing up in Ottawa, our American channels came from Rochester, New York. Yeah, way over from Rochester. The Steaming Bean, I like Dean more than Frank. Frank looked like a weasel. I like Dean because he was Mr. Cool. He was just Mr. Cool. You look at a picture of Dean Martin on an album cover today, that guy is welcome anywhere. That guy walks into your to a house party you're covering, dressed the way he was then, he wouldn't look out of place. Dean Martin, Mr. Cool, just fit right in. What a guy. Betsy Lane, Rocket Ship 7, she's saying. Yeah, I remember Rocket Ship 7. Wes Morrison, how about Lawrence Welk? And sing along with Mitch Miller. Oh, sing along with Mitch. Oh, man. Popular guy or what? Mitch Miller. Oh, man. Scott Batchley. Ah, yes, the look. The look of death. Yes, the Steamy Bean. Bruce just gave the look, tee. Paul Wilgus, my dad just cleared his throat. Oh, that one. Sound of death. Oh, man. Things got done instantly. Just things got taken care of now. Oh, unbelievable. Oh, yeah. Seakeeper, I do the over the readers look. Gets things done, no questions asked. There you go. Yeah, just, that one right there. There it is. Wow. Oh, yeah. No question about that. Madison, yeah, I'm sure. Lies. Madison, I'm sure it was more than counting change. Oh, come on, Madison. You're 14. What could you possibly know? What's going on in the... Oh, you're 14. Oh, geez. Maybe they were looking at their medication. They were comparing their meds, going to the doctor's office next week, and what pills do we need, and how are we feeling? What are the side effects? Could have been that. Could have been. Maybe not. Paul Wilkes, my favorite thing back then was cartoons from early morning on Saturdays until early afternoon. Yeah, the old Roadrunner cartoons and the Bugs Bunny cartoons and Daffy Duck. And oh, yeah, those are the days. Steaming Bean. But Elvis was king. Elvis was king. Keith Mahoney, I could not get enough of the Flintstones as a kid. I would watch the Flintstones, and then I'd watch my parents watching Jackie Gleason and the Honeymooners, and I go, that's the same stuff. You're watching what I watch. They talk about the same stuff that Barney and Fred talk about all the time with Wilma and Betty. You're not fooling me. I know what's going on. Yeah. Cal Wilson, laugh out loud. All of this for a color TV. It's nice growing up in the age of technology. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Steamy Bean, is your mother still living? Yes, my mother is still living. 84, coming up to 84. Lovely lady, a wonderful woman, still happy. But she's in a senior center now. And if you see her this afternoon and you say, how you doing? She'll say, I'm great. How was lunch today? Oh, just fantastic. What did you have? I don't remember. What day is it? I don't know. Do I need to know? No, Mom, you don't need to know. Don't worry about it. It's all good. You don't have to care. It's all taken care of. You're in a happy place. People love you here. You love them. You got it made. It's all good. Madison, thank God I'm the youngest child. Oh, my goodness. As the youngest, there's something to be said about that. But there's also something to be said about being the oldest. I was the oldest. My wife, who you've never seen, she looks just like Jennifer Aniston. We refer to her as Jen. That's not her real name, but we call her Jen. For Jennifer Aniston. She was the youngest of five. And she would tell me stories about her growing up days, and then I would tell her stories about my growing up days. All different, but interesting. Stevie Bean, Rocket Robin Hood on TV Ontario. Oh, man, taking me back. Wendy Thompson, Sir Graves Ghastly, a horror show. Sir Graves Ghastly, a horror show. What about the midnight movie? Remember the midnight movie? That would be on like American television affiliates, either weeknights or on weekends. The midnight movie on the weekend. Oh man, remember those? Madison DeMarco, my oldest sister just had a baby. Oh, Madison, you are the young one. Big time. You're the young one. Fantastic. The Steaming Bean, I was the 9th child of 10. Oh, man. Stephen Bean, it's obvious what's going on here. By the time you came around, they had more biscuits in the cupboard than when number one showed up. Yeah, they had biscuits for you, buddy. Oh, my goodness. Or were you getting hand-me-downs? What was that story all about? It's 9 of 10. That's incredible. Paul Wilgus, yeah, Wendy, great show. Paul Wilgus, yeah, the movie right before the test pattern. Right, remember the test pattern? We used to see the test pattern. Oh, up until what, 6 in the morning or so, 7 in the morning, depending on the station, you'd get the test pattern. And then the show would, the day would start. What was the first thing you saw? The national anthem. And what was the last thing you saw before you saw the test pattern? The national anthem. Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah, the test pattern. Steaming Bean, I was 11 pounds at birth. Steaming Bean. Oh, there wasn't a biscuit your mom didn't like. Oh, my goodness. Oh, now I know where you're getting it from. Oh, man, unbelievable. Debbie Manuel, oldest children and the youngest children from a different family, of course, seem to make some of the best couples. Youngest waiting to be taken care of, and the oldest did the caring of the youngest. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I can see that. Madison DeMarco, she has 2 others. She has a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old and a week-old. Man, I got some advice. Give some advice to your sister, okay? Come right up close to her, okay? Whisper in her ear. Okay, here you go. I'm going to help you out. Madison, this is a word of advice. You don't have to pass this on, okay? But I'm just telling you. Okay, here you go. Come on. Okay, you go, come right up to her. Come right up to her ear, okay? Nice and close. And get her attention. Say, I want to tell you something. I really want you to know this. And she's going to say, what? Say, and come in. Stop! Right there. Time out. No more. Stop this nonsense. 3 is enough. See if she hits you or not. See what happens. But be prepared to run. You're just saying, make sure you know your exit routes, just in case you need it. Oh, my goodness. Auntie Jane 11. Hi, Madison. Now you are Auntie Madison, grade 8. Great. You're Auntie Madison now. See? 3 times over. Triple Auntie Madison. Oh, my goodness. Anina Frank, my son's father grew up in a small village in Greece. They didn't have a TV until the 80s. And he was just 2 years older than me. Wow. That's incredible. Wendy Thompson, Sesame Street in French from Canada. That's right. Americans couldn't believe all the French we'd have on our television. Cam Wilson laughing out loud, Bruce. Madison DeMarco, stop! That's right. Tell her to stop! Laugh out loud. Cut that out. Stop going into the bedroom with that husband of yours. Stop counting the change and stop checking your medications. Stop all that. Keith Mahoney, 3 children. That's a big family for today. That's true. Jim Thomas, amen to that, Deb. Suck being oldest. I was a test subject and testing grounds for how to learn to raise the next one. Yeah, they made all the mistakes on the first one. By the time they had the second and the third one, it was perfect. Everything just went swimmingly. And there were always treats for the third one. There were always vacations for the third one. There were always way more presents at Christmas time for the third one. The first one, we were poor. We couldn't afford that. We could barely afford to feed you, buddy. You'd just be lucky you're alive. Just be grateful you breathe. I think the first kid should come with a hockey helmet or a football helmet as standard issue, just to protect these poor guys. I got scars. Oh my, Tommy saying someone but something in Bruce's drink. Somebody put something in there. It's caffeine. It's my last caffeine cola. I'm back to caffeine free after this one. I couldn't come soon enough, right? Uh, Madison, I get to see her today. There you go. This is your chance, Madison. Take her aside. Have a serious chat with this woman. I can't be an auntie 4 times over. You're killing me. You're killing me. That's it. Nina Frank, too much caffeine today, Bruce. Paul Wilgus laughing out loud. Tommy, Debbie Manuel, true dat, JT, true dat. Cheers. Wendy Thompson, he made more chocolate cake and he's drinking real Coke. That's what's going on. He's sugaring up. That's what he's doing. He's getting all sugared up on us. He's all wound up tighter than a drum. That's what it's got to be. I finished the chocolate cake last night. It's all gone. Got to make another one. Got to get the Duncan Hines box going. Mix it up and threw it in the oven. I got to make another cake. It's going to be terrible. Madison, I love to babysit. Well, I'll tell you what now, Madison, $5 an hour per kid. You just tell her. You tell her today. $15 an hour is my new rate. That'll stop it. She won't have any more kids. $15 an hour, a 6-hour date, $90 in babysitting fees. That's what you tell her. $5 an hour per child. Yeah. That's how this game plays. Jim Thomas, oldest is the work slave. Younger brother never had to do poop. Didn't have to do damn thing. The young bugger got to lie around, spoiled rotten by mom and dad all the time. And the eldest paid the price. Oh, man, unbelievable. The eldest, when are you allowed to get a driver's license? Oh, when you're 18, the oldest. The youngest, oh, we'll start training when you're 14. Oh, yeah, I want you out of here. Oh, yeah, all kinds of games like that. Madison DeMarco, cake. Steaming Bean, a hyper 62 years old. Cal Wilson, don't forget taxes and fees, Bruce. Don't forget taxes and fees. That's right. $15 plus taxes and fees and port charges, $20 an hour for those 3 kids. That's what I want. Yeah, and I need meal money, food money. You want me to feed these guys? You better have a magic fridge over there full of food or else. That's right. Madison saying, I can drive. I can drive. I know it. You're the youngest. Of course you can drive. You've probably already got your own condo. Your parents are probably already paying for your university out of their own pocket because they've got the money now. The eldest probably never got out of high school alive. Oh, yeah. The youngest get it all. Steam Bean, Bruce's voice just cracked on, sounded just like Mr. Furley. Laughing out loud. Bean, Nina says, Paul Wilgus is laughing at. He's laughing too. I'm telling you, the youngest, they get all the breaks. They just get all the breaks. It's unbelievable. Those us oldies, we're the ones who paid the price. Absolutely. Madison, my oldest sister could drive at 12. Man, she wanted to get out. She was dying to get out. She figured out the pedals and the steering wheel, and she hung out with that crowd. She hung out with an older crowd that showed her all the tricks. That must have been it right there. Oh, way too much fun. We're having way too much fun. Madison, this is what we do all the time. 6 days a week, I do this on the air with my peeps. We talk about cruise ships and whatever else comes to mind, and we have no idea where we're going next. It's out of control. It's just out of control, just like Kramer would say on Seinfeld. Not that you know who Seinfeld is. Out of control. Madison, she wrecked my mom's car. Of course she wrecked your mom's car. Well, there you go. What can I say? Oh, no. Oh, Madison DeMarco, subscribe. Thank you. Auntie Jane 11. That's true. The youngest are spoiled, rotten, laugh out loud, sigh. Oh, yeah. Oh, my. Madison DeMarco, I'm not spoiled. Oh, Madison. You don't know that you're spoiled. You don't know that. You see, that's the beauty of being the youngest. Being the youngest means you don't know. The oldest knows. They know because they remember what happened to them at certain times in their life, at certain moments in time. And then they see what's happening to you at the same moment in time. And it's not the same. It's just not the same. But for you, it's normal. But for the elders, oh, it's not normal. It's abnormal. Oh my gosh, yes. Nina Frank, Paul Wilgus, so true, Auntie. Nina Frank, I have only one full discipline. I only have one full discipline. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Stephen Bean, Auntie Jane, after work, we'll be eating bush, bush and chops. Madison saying, I'm really not though. I'm really, my cousin is. Oh, my cousin's spoiled. You should see my cousin. Way out there, Madison. My oldest sister got away with everything. She could do anything she wanted. Oh man, laughing out loud, being true dad, double X. Oh my goodness. My youngest sister, she thought that I had every privilege in the world. Oh, you let him do whatever he wants. He can hang out with his friends until late at night, and I can't. Well, yeah, you see, he comes home at 10 o'clock when he says he's going to be home at 10 o'clock. Oh, and then he mows the lawn without being told to. Oh, and in the winter, he shovels the driveway because, the beatings finally settled in and he knows he has to do that. He also babysits you when, mom and dad go out. And we know that you are dying to break every rule there is. But she didn't get it. She didn't click in with her. But you let him do everything. Nina Frank, one son, she said, Steamy Bean, I'm 50 and look back at my youth and miss it. But then I realized that my teenage years weren't all that great. They weren't all that great. Jim Thomas, being oldest would protect your younger siblings. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, it was easy to protect the younger siblings against the other young siblings out there because all you had to do was just stand there. Is there a problem? I remember how easy that was. That was pretty cool. But my youngest sister, she still tells me to this day, she was 10 years old, if that, maybe 9. And my parents asked me for a favor. It was Friday night. And Friday night, I went roller skating with my buddies Friday night. They knew that. I did all the chores I had to do. I worked in my dad's music store, helped out there. Friday night was when I went roller skating with my buddies. And this particular Friday night was coming up. It was like Wednesday. And my mother actually asked me for a favor rather than giving me a directive. Because I was about, I would have been 17. Oh, yeah, she would have been I was 18. So she was 8, I was 18. And at 18, you don't really get directives anymore. You kind of get suggestions or bribes. Well, anyway, my mom came up to me and in private had a chat and said, look, Dad and I have to go to the club and we can't find a sitter. Could you look after your little sister Friday? I said, I'll take her roller skating with me. She said, that's okay. I know you're watching her. I said, I'll take her roller skating. So I took my 8-year-old sister to the rink and I told the boys, tonight we've got a special guest. One time only, my little sister. Wow, guys were great. They were just real good pals. We took good care of this kid. And to this day, she's now 52. And she tells me, I'll never forget the time you took me roller skating. I was blown away. I couldn't believe it that you would do that. I had so much fun. And she got to take a little peek inside the world of her 18-year-old brother and his buddies. And of course, at 18, we were kind of the older guys at the rink because around 18, 19, you didn't go there anymore because you could drink now. And shortly after that, I started playing music for a living and making money on Friday nights playing music. But that one time I took her, she never forgot it. She never forgot it. You'll take care of the young ones. You certainly do. Madison is saying, I beat up my sister and dragged her by the hair through the house. I took care of business with her. Oh, man, Madison. Wait till you have kids. Oh, are you going to have so much fun, Madison? Auntie Jane 11, bean, fish, and chips, Aussie styles. There you go, Madison. Today is 3 years ago that my dad died. I am sorry to hear that. Madison, you're young. He shouldn't have died as young as you were, but it does happen. I hope there are good father figures in your life. I pray for that. And I'm glad you're here. I hope you're having fun with us. Steaming Beans, sad anniversary, Madison. Paul Willigas, my sister and brothers would fight like all heck, but don't anyone else pick on any of us. These fights are our fights. They're within the family. No joiners, Not from the outside. Not a chance. Madison, you are a naughty girl dragging someone around the house like that. Debbie Manuel, oh, Madison, I'm so sorry to hear that. What a hard thing to have to go through. The steaming bean, naughty. Madison, I can be nice sometimes. Auntie Jane 11, sorry to hear that, Madison. Jim Thomas, sorry, Madison. Madison DeMarco, thanks, y'all. Nina Frank, naughty. Auntie Jane 11, that was nice, Bruce. Steaming Bean, you were probably a good big brother, Bruce. I was a good big brother. Yeah, I was all right. I think I was an okay guy. I was the guy that got beat up as a young guy because we came from Germany. We had lived in Germany with my dad being in NATO in the Canadian Armed Forces. When we got back to Canada, I was 6 and had to go to grade 2 at that time, and couldn't speak a word of English, could only speak German. Well, if you had a black and white television back in 1962, 63, and you were going to watch the midnight movie on the black and white TV, or you're going to watch CHCH television and watch the movie of the week, chances are John Wayne and a few other of these Hollywood actors, they'd be showing you some of these World War II movies. And all the other 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 9-year-old boys in school, they all saw those movies. Oh, yeah, they knew who the good guys were. And they knew who the bad guys were. The bad guys were the guys that didn't speak English. The bad guys were those German-speaking guys. And we got one of those right in our school, right over there. That new guy, he doesn't speak English at all. He just speaks German, and he dresses funny. We're going to show him. We're going to do what John Wayne does and take care of business. So I learned all kinds of tricks, how to get home different ways every day. Because like certain people out there, you didn't go home the same route every night. You found ways to sneak home through back alleys and whatever it took to get home. And you also figured out who your friends were quickly in school and who wasn't your friend. Thankfully, by about grade 4, grade 5, I grew about 4 or 5 inches, and I was big enough to handle myself, and no one took me on anymore. But oh, those couple first years, they weren't fun at all, let me tell you. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Steaming Bean, when I was in grade 5 or 6, we used to get free passes at the roller disco on Saturday afternoons for being a patrolman, being on patrol. Yeah, what a great deal that is. Madison, I got suspended for fighting a football player. Madison, what are you doing? Oh, my goodness. What you want to do with football players is you want to make them your friends. Don't be enemies of football players. Turn it around and make them want to be your pal. Then they take care of you. It's all in the psychology. You'll figure it out. It's coming. Madison, it's coming. Believe me. Steam Bean, Madison, how old were you when your dad passed? 11, she's saying. Jim Thomas, flying leathernecks. Flying leathernecks. Steaming Bean, that is tough. Nina Frank, you still speak German, Bruce? Easy for us Scandinavians, especially to read. Steaming Bean, love World War II movies. I speak little, eine kleine bisschen, very little, because my first mission in life, my only mission in life, when I got back to Canada, within a week or 2 of getting back here, figuring out what was going on and what was going to happen to me, is get rid of the accent, get rid of that lingo, and learn English like everybody else, because you didn't want to be the pimple. You didn't want to be that one. Oh, God, no, you didn't want to be the pimple. And then when my mother wanted me to be dressed up in sort of a German-type outfit, oh, no, that's not happening. I'll wear it in the house, but not out of the house. Not a chance in hell. And I got a huge revelation when I was about 11, 12 years old. We moved from outside of Toronto to Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario. That's a German-speaking area of Ontario, home of Canadian Oktoberfest. All the German clubs were there, everything else. I got to meet all these other kids just like me. German parents, German grandparents, German aunts and uncles, and they had the same issues I had when they were small, when I was small. And I had peeps. We could compare notes, and we could protect ourselves. Thankfully, though, by the time I became a teenager, it was cool being German. It was cool. It was all right, because Germany was home to beer and bratwurst and sauerkraut The Oktoberfest was a great big party, and you're from German heritage, you're in. Now you're in. Before you were out, now you're in. But of course, had I still lived in Toronto or been, say, in Kingston, Ontario, or who knows where else, it could have been rough. It could have been rough. Stephen Bean, the German soldiers and officers in those movies spoke with English accents. That's true. Madison DeMarco. We were friends, but him and two other guys tried to fight me once, so I started hitting the biggest one. Well, there you go. Sometimes you got to take matters in your own hands, Madison. Stand up for yourself. Teach him a lesson you'll never forget, and then he'll be your friend after that, or else. Stephen Bean loved Rat Patrol. Jim Thomas. Oh, good one, Bean. Cam Wilson, I love being able to relate to people, but it must have felt good, Bruce. Nina Frank, you are a tough cookie, Madison, she's saying. Auntie Jane, I know, Bean. I used to watch cowboy and Indian movies. All the Indians had blue eyes and English accents. Laugh out loud. So gullible. Madison, I took karate for 2 years. Don't mess with me. I'll chop you in half. Way to go, Madison. Well done. Well done. You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. Well, folks, I got to tell you, it has been an hour and a half that I've been on here yapping away with you, and I got to cut it up. By the way, thanks to everybody who gave me a thumbs ups today. We'll just take a look. Madison, did you give me a thumbs up today? Let's see if I got thumbs ups. I've got 5 thumbs ups, 28 thumbs ups. Hopefully, Madison, you're one of them. That would be great. And let's see what we got here. I took right 2 years. Steamy Bean. Ich bin ein Keksweg von Wir vegan. I have no idea what that is. I am something. I have no idea what that means. Wax on, wax off. Jim Thomas is saying. I don't know. Let's see. Thanks, Madison. That's fantastic. We love it. Guys, I'm on tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern time for my usual Saturday show. I'll probably have a bit of trivia for you guys. Madison, no cheating. If you're watching tomorrow, you can't cheat during, you can't go to Google to try to get the answers to trivia questions. You got to just wing it like everybody else. It's a lot more fun that way. So if you can join us, that would be great. Otherwise, Madison, I'm on Monday at 5 o'clock Eastern on Monday. But next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm not on next week for 3 days. I'm going to be up in Calgary. I'm going to see my own daughter for a little bit, and then I'm going to be back in town next week, Friday. So I'll see everybody tomorrow at 2 o'clock and Monday again at 5 o'clock, and I look forward to that. Cam is saying goodbye. Jim's saying goodbye. Paul's saying fun show. Madison, I can kick people in the face because I can do this. But, well, you're young. You're flexible. Of course you can. I wouldn't recommend it as an ongoing thing, though. I like being more of a lover than a fighter. That's just my style. It works for me, but, whatever you got to do, Madison, just kind of, keep it cool. Auntie Jane, bye all. Bean, Night, Nano, Nina Frank, that was a fast 1.5 hours. Good night all. Steaming Bean, Elvis had an 8th degree black belt in karate. See, even Elvis took it, but Elvis got fat at the end. He probably didn't have very good moves at the end of it. He made faster moves to the cake than he did to the judo mat. But that's, that's so 1977, isn't it? That's so 77. Madison DeMarco, it's fun though. Madison, have a great evening tonight. Be good. Be a good auntie. Have fun with your sister and those 3 little ones. Oh my goodness, that's unbelievable. Everybody else, have a good evening too. We'll see you all tomorrow, and we'll see you then on Monday. Okay, Madison, take care. Steamy Bean, take care. Auntie Jane, you take care. This is Bruce with Traveling with Bruce, saying thanks for joining me today. I had a lot of fun today, reminiscing about televisions and the old days. Young people, old people, and everybody in between. Enjoy, everybody. A good evening tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Take care, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye for now.